Which artifact set should you use for Yelan? Hey there, Tuan here. I'm a day 1 Genshin Impact player at AR 59 and 36 star beast every reset. I will go over my recommendations on the artifact sets and the stats that you need to focus on for Yelan. Based on Yelan's current kit, we know that she mostly scales on HP. Furthermore, since her burst is 70 energy, you will need quite a lot of energy recharge to burst off cooldown. If you want to know how much ER she needs, you can check out my video here. And also, don't forget stats that can help Yelan deals more damage like crit rate, crit damage, hydro damage bonus, and so on. So, there are some artifact sets that are suitable with the aforementioned criteria. For beginners, I recommend using 2-piece Scholar and 2-piece the Exile. They both give you 20% energy recharge, so you gain a total of 40% ER. For advanced and endgame players, there are 3 good options. My top recommendation is the 4-piece Emblem of Severed Fate set. The 2-piece gives you 20% ER, and the 4-piece will increase your auto burst damage by 25% of ER. So, at 100% ER, you automatically get 25% increase, 50% increase with 200% ER, and 75% increase with 300% ER. This set is awesome since Yelan will need a lot of energy charge, and her main source of damage is her burst. If you have 200% ER, that's a 50% burst damage increase already. So, the set is my number 1 choice for Yelan. My second choice is a 2-piece Hearth of Depth and 2-piece Noblesse Oblige. Let's call them Hearth Noblesse here. The first one gives you 15% hydro damage bonus and the second one gives you 20% elemental burst damage increase. Based on the formula to calculate outgoing damage, these 2 effects fall into the damage bonus category. So in total, you will gain 35% damage bonus. Comparing with the 4-piece emblem, at 200% ER, the emblem set gives you 50% damage bonus, while the Hearth of Depth and Noblesse combo gives you 35% damage bonus. You can see why the emblem set is better here. However, there are 2 things that you need to consider here. First, the emblem set was released after the Hearth Noblesse. So if you have a good Hearth Noblesse set with great main stat and substats, it will be better than a emblem set with bad substats. Remember, you should always prioritize good stats over artifact sets effects. And second, if you want to utilize Yelan's charge attack and to skill as well, the Hearth Noblesse is a better set than Emblem, as it gives an extra 15% hydro damage bonus no matter which types of attack Yelan uses, while the Emblem set only buffs your auto burst damage. Finally, my third choice is a mix of 2-piece Hearth of Depth, Noblesse Oblige, Tenacity of the Millilith, and Emblem of Severed Fate. Of course, the Hearth Noblesse is excluded here since it's my second choice already. But if you don't have a good 2-piece Hearth on Noblesse, if you want more damage, you can use 2-piece Tenacity instead, since Yelan scales on HP. If you want more ER for more comfort, go for 2-piece Emblem and 2-piece Hearth or Noblesse or Tenacity. Alright, those are my top 3 artifact options that I recommend running on Yelan. Of course, there are other artifact sets that are more niche. For example, Thundersoother set if you want to run Yelan with an Electro Charge team, or Blizzard Strayer if you run her with a Freeze team. But I don't recommend these 2 sets, since they only work for that specific team only, so it's not worth spending resins on them. Okay, moving on to artifact stats. For Sands, you can use an ER Sand or an HP Sand. Ideally, you should run an HP Sand if you really meet the ER requirement. Running an ER Sand will help Yelan generate more energy, and you will be more comfortable with getting her burst back. But the trade-off is that you will deal less damage. So, try to run an HP Sand and get more ER substats is what I would recommend here. For Goblet, hydro damage bonus is my top choice. For Circlet, crit or crit damage. Remember the 1:2 ratio here. As for artifact substats, always prioritize energy charge first. I can't stress this enough. If you can burst off cooldown, it is a loss of DPS every second you don't have a burst off. I usually test this by trying out in different scenarios like when facing a single enemy or multiple enemies. So, if the requirement is like 180%, I would usually go for 200%. After you have reached the ER requirement and you feel that you can burst constantly, then you can start focus on other stats like crit rate, crit damage, or HP percent. Then attack percent and elemental mastery. All in all, I believe it is quite clear which artifact set you can use for Yelan. Also, I have created a Yelan guide on Notion that includes weapons and artifact recommendation, which stats to focus on, and some quick tips on how to build Yelan. I will leave the link in the description below. Since Yelan will be released on May 2022, there's still enough time for us to farm artifacts for her. I hope that you prepare well and best of luck on artifacts. Please subscribe if you find the video helpful. This is Tuan, signing out. Peace.